Season 2 of Nobody Wants This left us with one of those endings that felt both satisfying and just the beginning of something bigger. And now we know Season 3 is about to completely change the mature, grown-up relationship show we fell in love with. Starting with the biggest transformation of all, Joanne's conversion journey is actually happening. Throughout Season 2, we watched her struggle with this massive decision, going back and forth on whether converting to Judaism was something she truly wanted or just something she felt pressured to do for Noah. But by the finale, something clicked. Joanne realized she's genuinely fallen in love with Jewish culture, not just to please her boyfriend or fit into his world, but because it speaks to something real inside her. The Shabbat dinners, the traditions, the sense of community have all become part of who she is now. So Season 3 won't be about debating whether she should convert anymore. That internal struggle is over. Instead, we're going to watch her actual conversion process unfold, which is an entirely different story. This means studying with rabbis, learning Hebrew, understanding complex religious laws, and navigating all the emotional and spiritual aspects that come with choosing a new faith. And knowing Joanne's personality, this journey won't be smooth or predictable. She'll bring her signature humor and honesty to every step, probably questioning everything along the way while still moving forward with genuine commitment. The show has always been about her finding her place in a world that initially felt foreign, and now we're going to see her claim that place as her own. This transformation changes everything because it shifts the entire foundation of her relationship with Noah and removes the biggest obstacle that's been hanging over them since day one. And that brings us to how this affects Noah and Joanne's relationship moving forward. With the conversion pressure finally off the table, Season 3 can focus on them actually building a life together instead of constantly questioning whether they're fundamentally compatible. They've proven they love each other despite the challenges, and now they get to be intentional about their next steps without that massive religious difference looming over every decision. And here's where things get interesting. Joanne is still technically homeless, so Season 3 might be when they finally take the leap and move in together. This would be huge for both of them. Watching them navigate sharing an actual home and combining their lives in that everyday practical way is going to create entirely new dynamics and conflicts that have nothing to do with religious differences. Living together brings real relationship challenges after solving the big philosophical questions, and the show is perfectly positioned to explore this next phase with the same humor and heart that made the first 2 seasons work so well. But while Joanne and Noah are moving forward, another couple is falling apart in real time. Sasha and Esther couldn't make it work, and Season 2 ended with their relationship in ruins. Season 3 is going to show us the messy, painful divorce process as they each try to figure out who they are outside of this marriage. And this storyline matters because it's the darker mirror to Joanne and Noah's journey. While one couple is choosing each other despite obstacles, another couple with way more in common couldn't survive their issues. Esther and Sasha had everything on paper, the same background, the same culture, the same understanding of their religious world, but it wasn't enough. Season 3 will explore how they navigate separating their lives when they're still connected through family, through the temple community, through all these shared spaces they can't just walk away from. This is where the show can get really raw and honest about how relationships end, especially in tight-knit communities where everyone knows your business. Esther will have to rebuild her identity as a single woman after defining herself through this marriage for so long. And Sasha's story is about to get complicated in a completely different way. Because here's the thing about Sasha's storyline that the show has been setting up since Season 1. He's going to move on romantically way faster than anyone expects, and his next relationship is with Morgan. The chemistry between them has been there from the beginning, these little moments and conversations that felt charged, even when they were both committed to other people. The show has been so careful not to make Sasha cheat on Esther, respecting the religious values, but now that he's getting divorced, nothing is stopping this ship from sailing. And Morgan also broke up with her fiancé in the Season 2 finale, so they're both single and in a vulnerable place where finding comfort in each other makes perfect sense. Season 3 is going to explore this new relationship, and it's going to be fascinating because Morgan and Sasha are so different from the couples we've watched so far. Morgan brings her own chaos, her own complicated history with commitment, her own questions about what she actually wants from a relationship relationship, and Sasha is going to be dealing with guilt about moving on so quickly, about whether this is real or just a rebound, and how his family and the community will react to it. Meanwhile, Noah's professional life is about to get the transformation it deserves. Towards the end of season 2, we watched him struggle with his position at Temple Ahava, which is a progressive, laid-back congregation that never quite felt like the right fit for his more traditional approach to being a rabbi. Although he tried to fit in, he wants something that aligns more with his actual values. But the big obstacle to him getting his dream job at a more traditional temple has always been Joanne. Having a non-Jewish girlfriend has been a liability in the more conservative Jewish community. Now that Joanne might go through the conversion process in season 3 and show real commitment to Judaism, that barrier is finally coming down. Season 3 might be when Noah gets offered his dream job, a head rabbi position at a temple that aligns with his vision for Jewish leadership. This would create so many new dynamics to explore, like how this new position affects their relationship, or how Joanne handles being a rabbi's partner in a more traditional community with higher expectations. This storyline opens up the show to explore the reality of being in a relationship with someone whose career isn't just a job, but a calling that comes with intense public scrutiny and community expectations. And speaking of Joanne's career, the podcast Nobody Wants This has been a massive part of the show since the beginning, offering insight into her world and creating some of the show's best comedy moments. Season 3 might finally give us more of what the podcast fans want, Noah's Corner. This would be a regular segment where Noah joins the podcast to share his rabbi knowledge, answer questions about Judaism, and probably end up in hilarious situations as he tries to maintain professional boundaries while his girlfriend and her best friend talk about very unprofessional topics. The dynamic would be incredible because we've seen how Noah handles being put on the spot, how he tries to be diplomatic and educational while also being honest, and how Joanne can push his buttons in ways that make for great drama. Morgan would absolutely love having a real rabbi on the podcast, asking him increasingly inappropriate questions just to see him look uncomfortable while still trying to give thoughtful answers. This addition would also bring Noah more fully into Joanne's world in a public way, showing how he's willing to embrace her career and be part of her life even when it's uncomfortable or outside his usual comfort zone. It's the perfect way to blend their two worlds on screen, create new comedy, and deepen our understanding of both characters. But one of the most interesting transformations coming in season 3 is Beina's relationship with Joanne. Noah's mother has been one of the biggest obstacles to their relationship from day one, as she plays this protective Jewish mother who couldn't accept that her rabbi son was dating a non-Jewish woman. Beina hasn't been cruel or unreasonable. She's been coming from a place of genuine concern about her son's future, his career, his place in the community, and what this relationship means for the family's standing in their world. Every interaction between Beina and Joanne has had this underlying tension, this sense that Joanne is being evaluated and found wanting, not because of who she is, but because of what she represents. But season 3 is going to change this dynamic completely, because Joanne is converting. Beina can finally see Joanne not as the non-Jewish girlfriend who's threatening her son's future, but as a woman who loves her son enough to completely transform her life, to embrace a new faith, and to commit to this relationship in the most profound way possible. This doesn't mean Beina is suddenly going to be warm and welcoming, but we'll see her start to come around, recognize Joanne's genuine commitment, and accept that this relationship is real and lasting. The evolution of Beina and Joanne's relationship will be one of the emotional cores of season 3 because it's about more than just a mother-in-law accepting her son's partner. It's about understanding, acceptance, and recognizing that love shows up in unexpected ways.